Good evening and welcome to PMR Africa's podcast, PMR Global, where we celebrate excellence and acknowledge companies, individuals, and teams across various industry sectors. We began this initiative as an extension of our various platforms. Our web address is www.pmrafrica.com, and the magazine is freely available on the World Wide Web. PMR Africa includes a magazine, a research division, an events division, and most recently, the podcast initiative. PMR Africa works nationally in South Africa and throughout the SADC region, and that is the South African Development Community. And we are honored tonight to have Rika Haasbroek as our guest. Rika is currently serving as CSI Corporate Social Investment Manager at Clover. She oversees the company's corporate social investment initiatives, including the flagship Clover Mama Afrika project. Rika, welcome, and thank you for joining us on this podcast tonight. We appreciate your time and your willingness to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Johan, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Welcome. Rika, to start off with, tell us a little bit about yourself, your story. Where do you come from? Where did you grow up? A little bit about your childhood.
I actually was born and raised in Port Elizabeth, now Gqeberha, and I'm the eldest of 5 children, and of course part of a much bigger extended family that surrounded us and is still surrounding us. And growing up as the eldest, I think you learn things that textbooks don't. How to take responsibility and how to read a room, for instance, and how to hold things together when life gets messy. And there's always someone younger looking up to you, right? Always someone who needs something. And I think that's where my sense of purpose really took root. And then in Port Elizabeth, after school, I started in banking, where I spent years building skills in sales, leadership, management, financial management, and of course, strategic planning. And then after a couple of years, I took a creative sabbatical and I launched my own ceramic business. And during which I later specialized in what they call a specialized technique in the field, using precious metals like 24 karat gold and platinum on ceramics specifically. And I dove so deeply into that passion that I managed to write a book and published it on the actual subject.
Yeah. And the name of the book, is it still available?
Yeah, it's still available. It's called Luster for Life. I think growing up in the 80s, I have a particular passion for bling. And I think it also stems from the fact that in the earlier 70s, you reserved those diamonds and gold and metallics for evening wear only. And I think that's just my inner child saying, no longer, we need gold on everything, basically. So that was that. And then, of course, Clover Mama Afrika is what I am leading now. And that's actually where everything comes together. The discipline from banking and the creative instinct and the people skills. And all of that now goes far beyond just me.
Yeah, sure. What would you say the most important attributes of a successful business leader is today?
I think for me, it's really to see people, not just their job titles or the outputs, but their potential, even their challenges, and what they're capable of when they really feel supported. Leaders, you can't only focus on tasks, because then you're missing the whole game, because everything is about people. Secondly, I would say empathy. Because when you understand what someone is going through, I think in my role specifically, you are able to make better decisions. And then the R word that we all talk about, right? Resilience, because we all know business is unpredictable. And in the times that we live in, communities are unpredictable. And the leaders who lasts are the ones who, when things really go pear-shaped and sideways, that they sit back and they become curious as to why, and don't become paralyzed in those situations.
So I guess this is also, this is also part of your core leadership philosophy, you would
absolutely.
say.
And then, of course, ethics and credibility, because you have to build trust, and you can only build trust when you're doing the right things consistently. So I would say those are my core attributes of what I think.
Excellent. And tell us a little bit about Clover Mama Afrika, background, development status. I know the organization's vision is to break the cycle of poverty by empowering women. So what is the organization's approach to achieving these objectives?
So Clover Mama Afrika actually started as a vision in 2001. And I think it started with a question which was, what if you could identify women who are already the heartbeat of their communities? Those women that are feeding the children already, that are caring for those most vulnerable, and holding those families together, and then give them real resources and real training and real recognition and opportunities. I think that is how we started almost 25 years ago. Well, in October it will be 25 years ago. And that's exactly what happened. What began as a handful of dedicated mamas has grown into a national initiative, which is now recognized as Clover's cornerstone corporate social investment program, where we deliver those social and economic and educational support to those specific women across the country. And our approach is really deliberately different from your traditional charity model. We don't just go in and impose a solution. We really find those women who are already leading their communities, and we strengthen what they already have in terms of support, and then only that is multiplied. A mama who learns a skill, she passes it on, and a mama who generates income uplifts her whole household and the community around her. So it's really a ripple effect, which is the point.
And then also they can then also assist with other socioeconomic issues, for example, fighting HIV and AIDS.
Yeah. I think an important point to note here is that a lot of our mamas, I would say the good majority of our mamas, has had successful careers before they joined the program. And then I'm talking qualified nurses and social workers, teachers. Some even had higher level roles in corporate financial backgrounds. So they then saw a need and just couldn't turn the other way anymore, and that is how they started. So when we talk about improving the quality of life and fighting those socioeconomic issues like HIV/AIDS and gender-based violence, etc., that is exactly what they've been doing all along. So we work across those industries, across food security, across early childhood development, and support for the elderly and the disabled. And those mamas go into their communities and do home visits, for instance, and do a lot of educational programs and awareness. And when they do site visits or home visits, they even go as far as assist with, especially our nurses. They do that ministering and education around antiretroviral medication, because we all know that is a big challenge in our communities where our people are on the antiretroviral treatment and they are on it for a while, and then as they start feeling better, they don't take their medication anymore. And that effectively makes their treatment inactive. So when they go back onto the treatment, they need to go onto a different strain of medication. And a big part of that is the education, which happens through our Clover Mama Afrika centers.
Okay, great, excellent. If we look at the brand, the Clover Mama Afrika brand, what does that represent?
I would say that the idea of compassion isn't just a feeling. Clover Mama Afrika, in one sentence, is basically care in action. That's the simplest way I can put it. It's something you do, it's something you build, and it's definitely something you sustain. Every mama that carries the Clover Mama Afrika name is really a living embodiment of that. And she's not only caring for a community, but she leads change. And that's really what the brand stands for, with dignity, because the mamas we work with often have been overlooked by the systems that should have supported them. And we at Clover Mama Afrika say, we see you and your work matters to us, and you deserve the resources to do more and to do better. And of course, we can't do it alone. We often stand in partnership to be able to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, you are touching on that. The uniqueness about Clover Mama Afrika?
I would say people first approach. That is what absolutely sets us apart. But more specifically, it's the fact that we build on something that already exists. We don't, through the program, parachute in with a program or a skill set or a training program that's designed elsewhere, and we try to make it fit. We find the women who are already doing the work in the communities, and we strengthen them. Every initiative that is rooted in really the community knowledge that we build and that those mamas have, and real trust and real relationships. You can't replicate that from outside.
Yeah. And as part of that, what does innovation mean to Clover Mama Afrika?
At Mama Afrika, we get down and dirty. It's innovation for us is nothing flashy. It's about creative problem solving that really works. And it's sometimes something that we introduce in the form of a trade, like we've just launched the Business in a Bag concept, where we train youth from those Clover Mama Afrika centers in barbering skills. So it's really a highly intensive five-day training course where we've identified a clear gap for those centers, and then we equip them to have a fully pop-up business that not only sustains the center, but also teaches skills, and which they then can take further than that. And other times it's about teaching financial skills in a way that a mama can really calculate what her actual profit is in her income-generating projects, and which makes it possible for her to run a small business without any formal qualifications. But it's always about asking, for us, in terms of innovation, is what we're offering and what we assisting with still working?
Is it
still relevant? And if it's not, we accept it and we innovate from there. We adjust and search for new things that might work.
Yeah, great. Rika, we're taking a quick ad break and then we'll be back.
Thank you, Johan.
Hi, I'm Kobe Potgieter from Remax Independent Properties here in Gqeberha. The one thing that makes our office unique at Remax Independent, we're not only the #1 real estate office in the Eastern Cape, we are also the company with the best culture, working environment in place where agents grow. I think it's important that we look at a holistic development for our agents to make them feel appreciated, to enable them then to go into the Eastern Cape where they can carry over the spirit of Ubuntu. We operate across all major real estate sectors, including real estate sales, rentals, commercial, as well as agriculture. We proudly service a significant portion of the Gqeberha property market, representing approximately 30% of total market activity. Our success is built on strong leadership, exceptional service delivery, and a team of driven professionals who put people first. You are in expert hands, and we pride ourselves for the service excellence that we deliver every day.
Welcome back, Rika.
Thank you.
To create trust in the abilities of Clover Mama Afrika, what would you like to communicate to existing as well as potential role players and stakeholders?
I would say the key thing, I think, is that Clover Mama Afrika, we don't just report on the impact. We invite our stakeholders into the program. So our partners typically would directly engage with the mamas. They would visit the projects, or if they choose to do that, they could even play a mentorship role in our centers. When they visit our projects and they see firsthand the work that the mamas do, you know, that trust becomes very tangible. Then, of course, we have strong government in place. We have clear KPIs, and our reporting is transparent. And beyond the numbers, what matters most is that we are scalable, we're a credible model. And as you know, as I said, we're not a fly-by-nighter. We have been going for 25 years this year. So that in itself tells a story. And of course, in terms of impact, the mamas pass on all the skills that they acquire. Their projects expand, and the communities around them become stronger over time. So really, the return is very real, and it compounds.
Yeah. And your core values, what would you say? You did touch on that.
I touched on it. I think I've covered care. I think we'll set on about 4 basic ones. Care is one, which is our foundation, of course. Then integrity I've touched on, which is how we operate. Collaboration indicates how we grow. We don't know that we can't do it all alone, so we don't even try. Collaboration is a big one for us. The goal is empowerment, not dependency. We are all about hands-on, being hands-on, and not just giving handouts. And then accountability is what really keeps us honest, and to our mamas, to our partners, and the communities we serve. You know, these are really the values that we recite on a daily basis. It's not just something we mention in strat sessions or podcasts. It's really the lens through which we make our decisions every day.
What would you say sets Clover Mama Afrika apart from other similar institutions? Your community involvement, how the mamas operate?
Yes, all of that. I think what sets us apart is that I'm aware of, some other corporate social investment programs that which they tend to call window dressing. We're not. We use what's already there, and we basically make it better. The Clover Mama Afrika program was designed around what communities already have and what they might need to build on that. And I find that some other CSI programs are designed around what the companies want to give instead of that. And I think that's an important shift from being donor-centric to community-centric. That changes everything. Our programs are relevant because they built around real knowledge.
Yeah. And if we look at the mamas, where do they come from? Is it any specific background, environment?
Mostly under-resourced communities, of course. And as I said,
you mentioned nurses.
Yes, nurses, all sorts. They are already in the communities, as I said, doing the good work. Whether it is feeding children, we've got quite a few mamas that's taken up the task of making sure that the children in the communities really have at least one meal a day that they can rely on. That's one. Others do gender-based violence and go into the community and really advocate and educate the communities about that. Then we've got teachers, we've got food gardens. So really
very diverse.
Very, very diverse.
Yeah. You touched on that before, on how one deal with the unexpected. So how do you deal with the unexpected?
I try and keep calm. I really do try and keep calm, or at least I try to appear to remain calm, because a panic leader really creates a panic team, right? And I then would gather information. I have learned over many years that the unexpected is data that you can use, and it could be anything from, what do we actually know about the unexpected, if it was an event or if it's a program that's gone wrong. What don't we know and what can we control? And then I would consult my team, because I'm not one of those people who believe that the smartest person in a room is the one at the top. I find that the best insights sometimes come from those on the ground. So I would say absolutely. So I would ask, I would listen, and then only decide and act. And often we make small adjustments. We're not into the dramatic overhauls.
Just a small tweak.
Small tweaks are often necessary, which you know, when you take a step back, you see.
Yeah. And what's your vision for Clover Mama Afrika?
I would love representation in every possible province of ours. So that would be my vision. And also for CSI program like ours to be seen as real impact and not, as I mentioned before, window dressing. That I would say is the biggest aim for me.
Yeah, excellent. If you look at your life at this stage, what would you say? What's the most important lessons you've learned so far?
Sure, there are quite a few. I think when I was younger, I wanted results faster. But when you start working with our communities, it actually teaches you that meaningful change happens at a human pace, right? Not at a corporate pace. And I think so the biggest lesson there for me would be that real impact takes time. And patience is often not passive. I think that's the hardest thing for me to have learned as a leader. Because we all know, you know, when you work with the program that I do, Clover Mama Afrika, those women don't transform overnight. The communities doesn't shift in a quarter. Trust is built, as I said. It's a process, and trust is really built slowly. And if you take your time, it ends up being worth it. And I think for myself, a lesson, I think it's. I mean, so many people talk about this, to not pour from an empty cup, but when you do the work that really matters and that it's close to your heart, you often forget to take a step back and just take a breath. And
look at the picture.
Look at the bigger picture. Take that step back and get perspective. So now I think a lesson that I've learned from is to guard my energy deliberately, to be able to give my best to the program. And I think thirdly, surround yourself with people who are honest. I've often said a team of yes people can be a liability. If you're able to take honest feedback, even if it stings, you know, it could be one of the greatest gifts that you receive in your team. Yeah,
excellent. And lastly, just a couple of fun questions. What was your first job? You mentioned banking, so you already gave us an answer there. But what do you do?
That's actually not strictly true. My first job straight out of school was a admissions clerk at a doctor's surgery, which teaches you very quickly to deal with people that coming anxious or in pain or not at their best. Difficult. And only after that I joined the bank.
Interesting. But good people experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what do you do for fun to relax?
Well, I've mentioned ceramics. I still run my ceramic business as and when I can. So creativity is definitely a decompressor for me. Golf, a good game of golf. And then, of course, the complete opposite from, spending time in my studio is being with people that I love, my family and my friends. Some good food, some good conversations, no big decisions, just an agenda of fun and laughter.
Yeah, excellent. And then what's your secret talent?
Oh. I wish I could say golf. I think I would have to say reading people. I think from a very young age, I've had to read rooms and situations, and then trusting my intuition. I can walk into a room and quickly have a sense
Yeah,
of the dynamics and where the energy is at.
yeah,
And I don't know if it's a magic or a superpower. I think it
yeah.
just comes from a lifetime of paying attention.
Experience, yeah.
I think it's as simple as that.
Excellent, yeah. And what legacy would you like to leave behind?
I think I want to be remembered as someone who really saw people and helped them see themselves. I know it's also a cliche, you know, that old saying of, I wish you could see yourself through my eyes, but I really deal
Yeah,
with it on a daily basis where you meet these incredible women in the most dire situations. And often I think if only you could see yourself through my eyes. So that would be a big one professionally. I want Clover Mama Afrika to really outlast me. And I want the program to be deeply embedded in the communities and so well run and so well loved that it
yeah.
doesn't really need me in order to thrive. I mean, that to me is real sustainability.
That's also part of your passion, what you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And personally, I think I want people who've worked alongside me and my staff and my colleagues, as well as the mamas I've worked with, to say that I led with integrity and with genuine care.
Yeah.
That I wasn't in it for the recognition or anything like that, and that it was because it was the right thing to do. And if I can leave both those things, I think I'll be content.
Yeah, yeah, great. Rika, any other points you would like to highlight?
No, I think we've covered most of them, Johan. I think
Excellent.
I've really enjoyed it to share my passion and our program with you and the team.
Thank you very much. Thank you. On that note, we then conclude. Thank you for your time and your trouble, and thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Johan, and you and the team.
Thank you. So this brings us to the end of our episode tonight. Thank you, Rika Haasbroek, for participating in our episode. And when people are recognized and they feel connected and counted, they become passionate about their work, their life, and their purpose. And our mission remains to recognize excellence across Africa, honor high-performing teams and individuals, and establish benchmarks for organizational performance. Thank you and good night.